Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart prepare him.
Rightio guys, for our cake mix we need 250 grams of unsalted butter brought to room temperature and cut up into little bits. 1.5 cups of dark brown sugar, 5 eggs, 2 tablespoons of molasses, 1 teaspoon of Parisian browning essence. The other essences I have here is 1 tablespoon of vanilla essence, 1 tablespoon of brandy essence, 1 tablespoon of rum essence, 1 teaspoon of lemon essence, and 1 teaspoon of almond essence. Next we've got spices. Oh, let's see if I can remember this. 1 teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of mixed spice, half a teaspoon of nutmeg, half a teaspoon of cinnamon, and 1/4 teaspoon of ginger. Then we've got 1.5 cups of plain flour, half a cup of self-raising flour. Instead of breadcrumbs I am using half a cup of almond meal. And then we've got walnuts, almonds and coconut chips over the back there, and of course our fruit. I'll just go and get our fruit. Rightio, first things first. In goes our butter. In goes our sugar. And let's mix that up. When that's nice and creamy, I'll come back to you. Okay, now our butter and sugar is creamed. We're going to add our eggs, one at a time. We need 5 eggs.
Heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing. Joy to the world, the Saviour reigns. Let men their songs employ, while fields and floods, rock hills and plains repeat the sounding.
Straight down the sides.
Joy, repeat the sounding joy. Repeat, repeat the sounding joy. No more let sins and sorrows grow, nor thorns in...
We're going to add a half a tablespoon of Parisian browning essence, as well as our tablespoon of brandy essence, tablespoon of vanilla essence, tablespoon of rum essence, teaspoon of lemon essence, and a teaspoon of almond essence. That's in.
To the ground, he comes to make his blessings flow. For as the
2 tablespoons of molasses, and we're going to start with our spices. Scrape down the sides again before we start adding in the dry ingredients. Starting to smell like Christmas in here now. All right, away we go. Almond meal, with your fruit and your flowers you want to alternate between each one. So because I've got more fruit, I will start with the fruit. I may even put the dough hooks on so that it doesn't mush up the fruit. Okay, dough hooks are doing a better job. Got about a quarter of the fruit left to go. So it makes quite a big mix. May even have to finish the last bit by hand. Okay guys, my camera battery just ran flat, so I had to recharge it. The other things that I'm just going to fold these in because I think it's just a wee bit much for my mixer, is your coconut chips. Now this is 40 grams and there is 120 grams here of slithered almonds. And also golden walnuts. Now there's 100 grams of those. Now they're bashed up walnuts. Whoops there. That's one full bowl. And a mess around it. So I'm just going to fold these in and then we're going to finish off with the preparation of our pudding cloths. We'll see how many nuts actually stay in the bowl. And I can't transfer to a bigger bowl because this is the biggest bowl I have. It's the only bowl I have. I'll be right once they get a bit of cake round them. Okay, I'll come back when I've got that folded in. So, grab your nice bowl that has quite a flat bottom, sort of a flat rounded bottom, and then take your pudding cloth. Once it's cool enough to handle, you still want your cloth to be warm when you take it out, and wring it out. And I've done the same with my string, and I've just rolled that ready to go. You want to make sure that the bottom of your pudding cloth hasn't got any creases in it or any folds. And you're going to take a couple of teaspoons of just plain flour or all-purpose flour and put it in the bottom. And kind of shake it up the sides. This kind of acts like a protective skin and stops any pudding from seeping through while it's boiling. And then, once you've done that, put the pudding mix in the middle. Now this is this won't like rise or expand all that much, but you do need to leave a little bit of wiggle room. And I reckon that might be enough for the size pot that I have. Right, put that back out of the way. Now, you want to gather up your pudding cloth, like so, like that, right? And let the weight of the cake now you want to get the air out, but you want to leave some room for the cake to expand a little, right? Now this is where it kind of helps with you if you've got two people. Now do a couple of laps with your string. Make sure it's tied really tight. Okay, I'll be back when it's ready to go in the pot. Okay guys, now before you put water in your pot, measure your pudding. Your pudding has to be suspended in the water. It can't be sitting on the bottom of the saucepan or it will just burn. So this is why you need good string. Now this is what I have hung them with before, and I can't find my stick that I used to have across the pot, so I'm going to have to make do with what I've got. Now all you do is wrap the cord and tie it off. It doesn't have to be off the bottom by much, as long as it's not sitting and touching the bottom of the pan. Okay. Now, it needs to go up more. Right. That should be that. Okay. Now, double check. Yes, we're clear from the bottom. Now all you have to do is fill this up with water. When it comes to the boil, lower in your pudding, and it needs to boil for probably around about 2 hours. So I'll get this water on the go and I'll come back when I drop my pudding. Okay guys, here we go. One little pudding. Now your water doesn't have to be simmering really hard, like it doesn't have to be a rolling boil. It just kind of has to bubble away and do its thing. The pudding needs to be covered with water, but not touching, as I said before, not touching the bottom of the pot. So we'll come back in a couple of hours, see how we go. One more thing before I go. Cover your pot with some aluminium foil if your lid won't fit comfortably on top of your pot, to help keep the steam in, to help with the cooking of your pudding. Okay, so I'm starting to lose the light here a little bit, but I'm going to show you what I do for Christmas cake. This is the only pan that I've got out at the moment. The rest is sort of packed away in storage while we're still doing stuff to the house. So grease your pan with butter on the sides and the bottom. Cut out some butcher's paper, greaseproof paper, brown paper, doesn't matter. Stick it in, and then around the sides you want at least 2 layers, and you want it to come up above the tin. So that you get a decent, nice snug fit in the bottom of the paper. If you do a couple of slits, it will allow you to go around corners. So lay that in. Okay, so back to what I was doing. Sit down in there. Now, the reason I am putting a couple of layers of paper is because this cake has to cook for over an hour and it can burn on the sides, so that's why we're putting in a couple of layers. I think that bit needs a bit of butter. Help it stick. Rightio. In that goes. And in that goes. Okay, and then your second layer on the bottom. That helps keep everything all tucked in and snug. Now, it's just a matter of putting your cake in. My fingers. I want sticky fingers. Okay. Once again, this won't rise very much, so you can fill your cake tin quite full. Okie dokie. One cake done. Now, I always put a divot, it's only a shallow one, in the middle of the cake. This helps make even cooking. Oh, he's a drunk sultana. So now it just goes in the oven at temperature. So preheat your oven to 180 degrees Celsius or 160 degrees fan forced. I'll put the conversion of Fahrenheit down here somewhere, and we're going to cook it at 180 degrees Celsius or 160 degrees Celsius for a fan forced oven for 5 minutes. Then reduce the temperature to 150 degrees Celsius or 130 degrees Celsius for a fan forced oven, and bake uncovered for a further 2 to 2.5 hours, or until cooked, when you put a skewer in and it comes out clear. So let's get this puppy in the oven. Right. Get my action. Not action. Okay, this needs to come down one. Right. Okie dokie. In she goes. We'll come back when they're all cooked. Okay guys, it's been 2.5 hours. This pudding has been boiling away for 2.5 hours. And I'm going to turn this one off. I'm not sure whether you'll see very much because the sun's gone down, so I don't have a great deal of light. Ouch. Okay, it has blown up quite a lot. I'm not sure if you can see him in there or not. So now what you do, I'll just set you back up here. So I've got 2 buckets set up so that it gives me some height to work with. Turn one upside down to carry the pudding. And lift the whole pudding out of the cloth, out of the pot. Carry it over to the sink. Now this is where you... Ow, it's hot. You don't sit your pudding down anywhere. Don't sit it on any surface or you'll crack your pudding and it won't be any good. When you go to open it for Christmas dessert, it'll be all split and mouldy. Apart from that, there we have it. So you let this hang over a bowl, a basin, or as I've got it here over my sink, until it cools down and until it stops dripping and it sort of dries out a little bit. And you need to let it mature for at least a month. My grandmother used to make her puddings in October, and they used to hang from October until Christmas Day. I'm running a bit late because I've had so much on my plate. You can actually hang these and keep them for 6 to 12 months. They do dry out and they do go rock hard. When you want to eat the pudding, you need to immerse this again, just like you have, in boiling water for about 20 minutes to half an hour, and then let it drain like this for about 20 minutes, half an hour, and then remove it from the pudding cloth and serve it on a plate with some brandy custard or some brandy cream or brandy sauce, or just plain cream or ice cream, whatever you want to serve it with. So that's it, guys. It's my Christmas pudding. I will do a video on turning the pudding out eventually, but I want to let it stand for at least a month before I turn it out. So thanks for watching, guys. Happy prepping. Okay, guys. I didn't video me bringing the cake out of the oven because it was very early hours of the morning and I was too tired. So when your cake comes out of the oven, you want to put a few skewer holes around the edge of the cake, and then brush it with about about 3 tablespoons of brandy or rum or whiskey, whichever, doesn't matter, and then let it stand for 5 minutes, and then cover it with some aluminium foil and leave it overnight in the tin. If you take it out of the tin, your cake will crack, and then you won't be able to decorate it, or it'll fall apart. Anyhow, leave it overnight, cover it with foil, and the next time you get a chance, you want to take it out of your tin, flip the cake, and then do the same. Put a few skewer holes around the outside and brush it with brandy or rum or whiskey or whatever you want to cover it with. And then wrap it up in the paper that came out of the oven with, and then wrap it in foil and let it mature until you're ready to ice it or use it for Christmas. These cakes will keep, 3 or 4 months, depending on how much moisture is in the cake. It can last you quite a while. So that's it for Christmas cake and Christmas pudding. I will make another video, as I said before, about how I prepare my fruit, so that if you only want to find out how to prepare my fruit, you can click on that video. If you want to know how to make the cakes, you can click on that video, and if you want to know how I did my puddings, well, that will be at the start of this video. The pudding cloths, rather, that'll be at the start of this video. So thanks for watching, guys. See you next time. Happy prepping. Okay, guys, so it's been 2 days. I've had the pudding hanging over a bowl for 2 days to make sure that it's not going to drip or leak any more water from being boiled. And now I am just hanging it in a good sunny spot, but somewhere where it's not going to get moisture. If you get water on this now, it will go mouldy, so you have to keep it in a well drained, water-free area. And where do I have mine? In my laundry. But my laundry's not up and running at the moment, so I can hang it in here. Yeah, and this needs to hang and mature for at least a month. It takes about 3 to 4 weeks for the pudding to actually dry out, and you can hang these for 3 or 4 months and then eat them, and they're fine. As I said before, my grandmother used to make hers in October. The 1st of October she'd start making her puddings, and then a couple of weeks later, when she'd finished making her puddings, she'd plant the tomatoes. So I'm a little bit behind the 8 ball though, because I've had so much on my plate. Anyhow, it's going to hang there for a while now, until Christmas. Thanks for watching, everybody. As always, happy prepping. Bye for now.
And wonders of his love, and wonders